Hari Om, Chapter 10. As we come to the closure of Chapter 10, what have we really understood about Arjun's problem? Let's call it the Arjun disease. I call it the disease, not I, many Swamis, because it is a disease that many of us are afflicted by in smaller or larger measure, but we are afflicted by the Arjun disease. What is this now? So, in the beginning, Arjun suffered from a fear of losing his near and dear ones. So this is a common sorrow that we all, and all sorrow and all anger basically comes from fear. J. Krishnamurti used to say that fear is the root. Fear of what? Fear of losing worldly things, fear of losing loved ones, fear of losing our man, apaman, or our status, or our position, whatever we have accumulated, and the families that we have. It's just fear. And all that Vedanta is saying is, you can get out of the fear. Not by holding on to it forever, because not even God can promise us that these things will last forever, and that's why you can get out of fear. तो तुम अब भय में मत रहो, क्योंकि मैं इन सब चीजों को शाश्वत सनातन कर देता हूँ. अरे ये चीजें शाश्वत और सनातन है ही नहीं. हमारी कीर्ति, हमारा यश, हमारा यूथ एंड आवर प्रॉपर्टी एंड आवर वेल्थ एंड आवर फैमिलीज, भगवान भी उसको शाश्वत नहीं कर सकते. हाँ, लेकिन भय उसको मिटा सकते हैं. That is within his power, which means within our power. So, in the beginning we saw Arjun saying, how did he start? In the second chapter, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavah. My heart is filled with compassion and pity and sorrow. Right now, get me out of this sorrow. I cannot see right from wrong. I just do not know what action to take at all. And I put down my weapon, completely paralyzed out of fear, out of confusion. That's where Arjun began. Let's see so far what journey we have covered with Arjun. And later, Krishna very compassionately said that why is it that you are fearing death of your loved ones or even your own? You know that they are only souls. Or if you don't know, let me tell you, Krishna says that Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Right from childhood to youth, to middle age, to old age, there is only one constant. You are changing from childhood to youth to middle age, but there is something which is constant. You are that constant tattva. And tatha dehantara praptihi, that tattva which is constant, which you know it is constant because you keep saying, this is me. You don't look the same. You have grown in different ways. The mind, the body, the intellect has completely transformed from what it was 40 years ago, 10 years ago, or even from yesterday. It has transformed. It is constantly transforming. Yet we say, this is me, I. That I thing is a constant that carries through, which feels that no, there has been no change. I still feel me. That constant also carries right through to beyond your death. Tatha dehantara praptihi. That's why, Arjun, what fear do you have? Dheeraj rakho. Dheeras tatra na mohyati. Is moha mein mat pado. ये मोह करने की चीज ही नहीं है ये दुनिया. So you are carrying through, and also all your relatives, they are one constant soul, infinite and permanent. And therefore, why is it that you are in this moha? Na mohyati dhiras tatra. And now Arjun still perhaps looks a little confused, because he says, no, I cannot lift my weapon and I cannot get into this battle. We may see this as the setting of Mahabharata is just a context. We may see it in our context. In our context, there are many times that we are beset with fear, and we have the same fears. Not only we, but all humanity, all through time, universally, irrespective of time and geography, suffers the same fears through millennia. Fear of losing what we feel is ours. This body is not ours, but we feel it's ours. The family, the wealth, the fame, the name, even moments of joy, we think they are ours. हमारी खुशियां हैं. Whatever we think is ours, we feel there's a great sense of fear. I may lose it. Bhagwan says, of course you will lose it. So what's the big deal? Only thing is, you are in moha, in delusion that these are constant. And therefore, Gita becomes a universal text right through time and right across geographies. It is not meant for a particular sect or religion or community, or it is just the science and art of living. So it may be because the human condition is the same, the human sorrow is the same, the human afflictions are the same, the mental afflictions. So how can this text become exclusive to a particular community? हम तो हिंदू हैं, हमको ये टेक्स्ट को हमारा धर्म शास्त्र मान लेना चाहिए. That narrows down the very scope of this great text, which is much vaster than any particular religion. So Bhagwan says, okay, you need a little more persuasion. So he persuades him a little more. Earlier, all this is from chapter 2. He says, Avinashitu tad vidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. Please understand that all that you see, all the people that you see around you, whom you feel that you're going to hurt or destroy, are avinashi. They are indestructible. In what form? In the Sat form, that is their soul form. We are body plus soul, right? So we are Prakriti plus Purush. So that soul form is indestructible. So Arjun, what is it that you're grieving for actually? And in any case, dropping this body and adopting a new body is actually just another way of changing your clothes. What is the sorrow all about? And therefore, the original issue that Arjuna had expressed was, Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha. I am still in dharma sammudha. My duties, I am not clear what I am supposed to do. Okay. So Bhagwan says, now, the moment you hold your mind steady in that highest truth, that nothing which is permanent can ever be destroyed, and everything in the world which is in any case impermanent will slip through your hands like sand. So why hold on to it? If you know this one truth, you will achieve the kind of swabhava of a sthita pragya, steady in knowledge, steady in the knowledge that I have to hold on to Sat and drop all the Asat. We are doing the opposite. I am holding on to all the Asat. मेरा नाम, मेरा यश, मेरी आयु, मेरी खूबसूरती, मेरा, अब वो मेरा जो हमने जिसमें अटैच कर दिया है वो सब इम्पर्मानेंट चीजें हैं, तो वो हमको दुखी देखे जाएंगी क्योंकि वो जाएंगी. Because of the fact that they will leave me, they will leave a trail of sorrow. The moment one has understood that I have to hang on to truth, that consciousness that I am, and that is a part and ansh of the super consciousness, of the Krishna consciousness, I am that same, and from right through lifetimes, right through birth and death, I carry on. The moment we hang on to that truth, we become sthita in that knowledge, pragya, and I become a sthita pragya. So what? So what happens? So first of all, Arjun is now getting a little convinced as to how he can transform his life from the way he has been leading it in the material world, like we are. We have been taught right from childhood to lead a normal materialistic, consumeristic life कि आपको अच्छा पोजीशन, पावर, प्रमोशंस मिलते रहें तो दुनिया की ख्याति और दुनिया का अप्रूवल एंड अप्लॉज भी मिलता रहेगा, तो इसी में खुश रहो. ये तो हमको सिखाया गया है, सबको सिखाया गया, but it leads to a tremendous amount of affliction because there is always this hidden fear that we talked about of losing all this. So the world has taught us what can lead us towards sorrow actually. So Bhagwan says, once you know this truth and hang on to it, hang on for dear life, कि अब मैं नहीं छोड़ूंगा इसको, तब आपके सुखों में, दुखों में, you will be सम दुख सुखम धीरम, आप धीर रखेंगे. और सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते, और फिर अमृतत्व, that means you will also become amritat, undying, indestructible, infinite, shashvat. because you are already that. Actually, there is no becoming. One is already that. Somrit kalpate. You are fit for that state. That is your state already. So सम दुख सुखम धीरम, यानी कि जो भी सुख दुख आए मैं I will be equanimous. I am going to be धीर. Yes, it's a beautiful state to be in. So Arjun is now convinced and says, okay, teach me more. And as he goes on, he says, स्थित प्रज्ञस्य का भाषा. ये स्थित प्रज्ञ क्या होता है, किस भाषा में वो बोलते, मतलब what are the kind of things they talk about. समाधिस्थस्य केशव, टेल मी मोर. स्थितधीः किम प्रभाषेत, वो किन चीजों के बारे में बात करते हैं. किम आसीत व्रजेत, किम बैठते कैसे हैं, उठते कैसे हैं, चलते कैसे हैं. He doesn't mean literally, of course. What he means is, what is the inner quality and the outer behavior of this kind of a sthita pragya, one who becomes established in that knowledge. See, hearing the knowledge once, twice, and number of times is not becoming a jnani. That we have seen in our own lives. We go out into the world and poof, that knowledge is gone. We go headlong into kama, krodha, mad, lobha, moha, matsarya. That hearing is not knowledge, but to be steady in it is the art and science of achieving that amritatva, becoming amrita. So now Arjun, by the end of second chapter, has become extremely curious, and now he is not talking about the battle. His mind has already been uplifted from the sansari successes and failures and dukkha. अरे मेरे भाई बंधु, मेरे द्रोणाचार्य और भीष्माचार्य, मेरे गुरुजन. Oh, nothing of relatives and friends. He says, tell me more about this philosophy of life. His mind is already uplifted. That means distanced from sansar. That's why listening to Krishna again and again puts us in an Arjun position. It's like an Arjun stand, where he is moving from sansar, and slowly you can see his questioning has transformed from sansari dukkha to tell me more about the philosophy of this sthita pragya. Ye hota kaisa hai? Then, but later on, just like us, he practices a little bit, because Bhagwan has told him that you have to make sure that if this knowledge is too abstract for you, suppose it is too abstract, and it is for all of us, because we have a very sthul mind, a mind which is engaged in gross objects and vastu and vyakti and paristhiti and ghatna, situations, relationships. These are all sthul, gross. They are not subtle. They are not of the nature of that ultimate subtlety. Therefore, our mind is not used to it. So Bhagavan says, oh, okay. So you cannot take sannyas. It's quite clear, Arjun. So don't pack up your bags and go up into the forest and say, I won't fight my battle. No, you have to live in that situation which you've been given in this life. That is your prarabdha. Be in the battle like we are. And we have illnesses in the family, and we have situations where we have to plunge headlong into situations in sansar. He says, yeah, remain right there. It's not a bad thing to be in sansar. Remain right there, but you can do another thing. So now Bhagavan steps down one step just for Arjuna and says, look, if the abstract knowledge is too much for you to hang on to, which it is for us, he says, why don't you just become a karma yogi? Which means what? Karman nevadhikaraste ma phaleshu pradachana. Again, second chapter, he says, oh, it's very simple. You live in the life, live in the midst of the battle that you have been given, but drop one thing, only one thing. God is not asking for too much. Drop the phala, the outcome, the fruit of it which you are expecting as a vision. मुझे ये चाहिए, इसलिए मैं ये काम कर रहा हूँ, और जो काम मैं कर रहा हूँ उसका यही परिणाम होना चाहिए. इस स्थिति में, इतने measure में, इसी समय में ये परिणाम होना चाहिए. It is a fixed vision that you have which causes you sorrow. The moment you drop phala, see, Bhagavan is now come down from Jnana Yoga to Karma Yoga, and he says, try it out, Arjun, and you will see the difference. The difference will be that the world will stop chasing you. Because you are chasing the world through your expectations of फल, मुझे ये हर काम में, हर सोच में, हर रिलेशनशिप में, हर परिस्थिति में ये परिणाम होना चाहिए, ये हमारे मन में. सो दैट मीन्स वी आर चेजिंग द वर्ल्ड फॉर समथिंग. ही सेज जस्ट ड्रॉप दैट ना, सिंपल. द मोमेंट यू ड्रॉप इट, जिससे जो होना होगा वही होगा, बट आई एम गोइंग टू गिव माई 100%. यू विल सडनली फाइंड दैट ओ, संसार doesn't have a hold on you anymore. Sansar is not capable of holding you in its grip. I am free. I will work in sansar and yet sansar is not going to chase me. ये freedom तुम experience करो अर्जुन. कैसे? कर्म योग से. Drop the फल, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. Okay, तो ये भी try कर सकते हैं अर्जुन. And as we moved on, Arjun still expressed, just like all of us, he says, yes, I'm trying it, but you know something, the mind is very difficult to control. Why? Because it's the mind which is saying कि हमको ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए और ऐसा होना चाहिए. मेरे कर्म या एफर्ट की वजह से इतना ऐसा होना चाहिए. आई एम अ कर्ता और उसमें से मुझे भोग तो चाहिए. कर्ता एंड भोक्ता become part of my mind. So it's the mind which is playing mischief. Oh, I see. So Bhagavan says that do one thing. Why don't you drop the mind itself? So we are coming to Dhyan Yoga. Bhagavan is step down one more step to say ध्यान योग करो. अब ध्यान योग में क्या करें हम? वैराग्य यानी डिस्टेंस फ्रॉम संसार कैसे आएगा? क्योंकि हम ध्यान जब करेंगे तब एक और एक ही चीज को हम ध्यान में रखेंगे, दैट देयर इज वन अल्टीमेट रियल, अल्टीमेट एब्सोल्यूट रियलिटी, कॉन्शियसनेस. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट एवरीथिंग क्रम्बल्स लाइक ड्राइड ब्रेड, लाइक डस्ट, एवरीथिंग. कुछ ब्रेड तो खैर हो सकता है 2-3 दिन में क्रम्बल हो, लेकिन बड़े से बड़े महल दे क्रम्बल इन थाउजेंड्स ऑफ इयर्स, लेकिन क्रम्बल होते हैं. सो द होल आइडिया इज एवरीथिंग इज अनित्य. तो इस चीज को ध्यान में रखते हुए, इसको कहते हैं वैदिक ध्यान. उसके ऊपर जो हम कह रहे हैं, कृष्ण जो बोल रहे हैं कि कृष्ण कह रहे हैं, उस पर ध्यान रखो. श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम समे युक्त तमो मतः. जो निरंतर इस चीज को ध्यान में रखता है वो मुझे बहुत प्रिय है, कृष्ण कहते हैं 6th चैप्टर में. लेकिन वो भी हमारे लिए मुश्किल है. क्यों? बिकॉज देन अगेन इट्स कीपिंग योर माइंड ऑन एन एब्स्ट्रैक्ट एंड आई डोंट नो दैट एब्स्ट्रैक्ट. ऑल्दो आई एम दैट कॉन्शियसनेस, I am in every breath which is being exhaled and inhaled. It is only and only consciousness which is enabling it. Every thought that is passing through my mind, only and only consciousness can enable it. That physical neuron that I was talking about, which shoots in the brain with every thought, that cannot be activated unless there is this powering factor of consciousness. Because a dead body can lie there for 2-3 days and all the organs are there. After that the organs start disintegrating. Okay, चलो ठीक है, लेकिन तुरंत तो organs नहीं disintegrate होते ना, तो वो organs को फिर काम क्यों नहीं करते? That means, as they said in Kenopanishad, because I am the eye of your eye. Slightly esoteric, mystical language. In Kenopanishad, it simply means I am the sight behind your eyes. The eyes or all your organs or all your thought, whatever, is only a स्थूल instrument. वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट जैसे कि फैन और लाइट लगा हुआ है, लेकिन इंस्ट्रूमेंट या अप्लायंस, इलेक्ट्रिकल अप्लायंस स्वयं नहीं चल सकता, उसको चाहिए बिजली. तो वैसे ही इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स और ऑर्गन्स आपको दे दिए गए हैं, बट यू आर दैट कॉन्शियसनेस. थोड़ा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हो गया, ऑल्दो यू आर इट एंड आई स्टिल कैन नॉट सी इट. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट सीक्रेट्स ऑफ गॉड, वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट मिस्ट्रीज ऑफ लाइफ, कि हम वो होते हुए भी नहीं देख रहे हैं. ऐसा लगता है कि हम एक शीशे से दुनिया को देख रहे हैं, शीशे के थ्रू मतलब, और हमारे सामने एक शीशा है और हम दुनिया को, संसार को उसी शीशे से देखे जा रहे हैं और दुनिया को देखते हुए कह रहे हैं कि अरे वो तो सत्य है, वो तो सत्य है, मुझे सिटी की लाइट्स दिख रही हैं, स्काई स्क्रेपर्स दिख रहे हैं. अरे हाँ ठीक है, लेकिन जो बीच में शीशा है ना, यू आर लुकिंग थ्रू इट एंड दैट शीशा इज देयर एंड येट यू मिस इट. हर वक्त कॉन्शियसनेस हमारे हर ब्रेथ में है, एंड येट वी मिस इट. इट इज सो सटल. तो थोड़ा सटल हो गया था आई थिंक अर्जुन के लिए भी. तो भगवान ने कहा श्रद्धा, तो आप इस बात में श्रद्धा रखिए कि मैं हूं, मैं निराकार हूं. बट लाइक इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इट डजंट हैव एनी फॉर्म, शेप, साइज, कलर, टेस्ट और स्मेल. बट येट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज देयर. आपको विश्वास तो करना पड़ेगा ना, क्योंकि उसका प्रमाण है. इट मेक्स समथिंग पावरफुल, इट मेक्स समथिंग रन. सो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का प्रमाण है, लेकिन हम देख नहीं सकते. यस, कॉन्शियसनेस आई एम देयर. आप श्रद्धा रखो. ये हुआ निर्गुण. अच्छा, ये भी मुश्किल है क्योंकि हमारा मन यहाँ से वहां भाग रहा है. एंड इनफैक्ट एक जगह कंप्लेन किया था अर्जुन ने. सेकेंड चैप्टर में उन्होंने कहा था, इंद्रियाणाम हि चरताम यन्मनोनुविधीयते. मैं इन इंद्रियों का क्या करूं? मैं चाहता हूं कि मैं इस सत्य पर, इस ट्रूथ पर, हे भगवान, मैं आप पर श्रद्धा रखना चाहता हूं और अपना मन स्थित रखना चाहता हूं आप. लेकिन मैं इंद्रियां जो है ना, हमारी इंद्रियाणाम ही चरताम, चलती रहती है. ये हर चीज जो आकर्षित करती है हमारे साइट को, साउंड को, स्मेल एंड टेस्ट, हर चीज आकर्षित करती है और मेरी इंद्रियां उसके पीछे भागने लगती है. यन्मनोनुविधीयते, मेरा मन उसके पीछे भागने लगता है. देखो, ये तो कंडीशन, यूनिवर्सल कंडीशन है. ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स हैव दिस सफरिंग, but they don't see it as suffering. They think it's a way of life. Bhagwan has to come and intervene and tell us tadasya harati pragyam. Yes, इसीलिए तो मन आपका हर लिया जाता है. It means your mind is robbed and abducted by these indriyas, the senses that you are following. You're following. वायुर नावमिवाम्भसी. किस तरह से? जैसे कोई एक नाव है, वो स्टॉर्म में फंस गई है और वो स्टॉर्म जहां तहां उस नाव को, बोट को ले जाए. मेरा मन, मेरी इंद्रियां दिन भर उसी में, यहाँ से वहां, इट कीप्स टॉसिंग एंड टर्निंग एंड इन अ टर्बुलेंट वर्ल्ड. टू व्हाट एंड? मतलब इसका कोई मतलब तो निकला नहीं इस तरह से जीने का. माई माइंड इज टर्बुलेंट. माई इंद्रियां बहुत लालची हैं. हर वो खूबसूरत चीज देखना चाहती हैं, हर वो स्वादिष्ट चीज चखना चाहती हैं, हर वो सॉफ्ट चीज, आई डोंट नो हाउ डू यू से इट, प्लेजरेबल चीज छूना चाहती हैं. तो माई इंद्रियां वेरी लालची. लेकिन हम अपने मन को इंद्रियों के पीछे डालेंगे तो आई विल बी अ स्लेव ऑफ माई सेंसेस, एंड देयरफॉर यू आर जस्ट गोइंग टू बी कॉट इन अ टर्बुलेंट वर्ल्ड. दिन में अगर हम अपनी मन पर ध्यान दे कि हमारा कहाँ कहाँ मन जा रहा है, तो बस दुनिया में यही इंद्रियों के पीछे जाना होता है. तो so it is his complaint. He says, yes, indriyanam vicharatam yanmanonu. Krishna has actually said this, not Arjun. But Arjun had said, yes, chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Yes, you are right, Krishna. हमारा मन कितना चंचल है, मेरा मन चंचल है, लेकिन उसका एक, you are the master ना, you have to be the master. इसीलिए तो कहते हैं you have to conquer yourself, not conquer the world. Conquer our own mind. चंचलम ही मन कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवत दृढ़म. ये तो मन इतना जिद्दी और इतना स्ट्रांग है कि उसका कोई there is no way out of it. Yes, universal problem. A very strong and जिद्दी mind. एक बार किसी चीज को पकड़ लिया तो उसी के पीछे भागता रहता है. राग हो या द्वेष हो, दो चीजों के पीछे भागता है. Likes or dislikes, aversions or attractions, बस मन. तो भगवान says, no, this is not the way to find either the ultimate truth or to find peace in your life. This is not the art of living. How can you allow that to happen? Yes, but he still agrees. He's a very compassionate. Who? Krishna. Krishna is a very compassionate teacher. He never says, oh, no, you fool. Although he has called him Moodha a couple of times. He's called Arjun Moodha and Alpa Buddhi, dim-witted. But he still says, asamshayam mahabaho. Asamshayam, no doubt. What you're saying is right. The mind is the thing which drives people crazy. So what you can do is, so he recommended dhyan. Dhyan mein, okay. Now, Vedic dhyan is to keep your mind on that ultimate truth. Ultimate truth समझ में नहीं आता क्योंकि दिखाई नहीं देता. छू नहीं सकते, और उसको नैनम छिंदन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनम दहति पावकः, न तो उसको काट सकते हैं, न जला सकते हैं, न फूंक सकते हैं, न वेट, व्हाट इज इट एक्चुअली, नो आई कांट डू एनी ध्यान, ठीक है। अब सगुण उपासना यानी finding a form in which you can hold your mind. So it could be the form which was given in the Puranic age which came later after Vedic age. पुराणों में भगवान को रूप, रंग और उनकी लीलाएं, उनके सीक्रेट्स, उनके प्रसंग और उनकी प्रभाव और उनकी विभूतियां, ये सब बताई गई, तब मन मुग्ध हो गया। किसका? भक्त का। तो भगवान कहते हैं सिंपल ना, भक्ति बन जाओ, फिर भक्त बन जाओ, सरेंडर योर माइंड, सरेंडर योर लाइफ एंड से भगवान विल टेक केयर, और मन मुग्ध हो जाओ। सो ईदर देन you will find some respite, some rest from this sansar which you are chasing and which is also chasing you. But remember one thing, Arjun, the jiva meaning manushya jiva was not meant to fritter away precious life in this fashion. अगर ये समझ में आ गया तो हमको एकदम से लगेगा कि अरे, जैसे पैसा जब खत्म होने लगता है ना, हम बैंक बैलेंस देखते हैं कि अरे 10 लाख से 5 हो गया, अरे 4 लाख, अरे 50,000 हो गया, लेट मी डू समथिंग, पैनिक होता है ना। वैसे जीवन में हमको समय के साथ, आयु के साथ पैनिक होना चाहिए। वेयर एम आई फ्रिटरिंग अवे टाइम? एंड बाय द वे, टाइम इज मोर प्रेशियस देन मनी। मनी कैन बी अर्नड, टाइम कैन नॉट बी अर्नड बैक। हमने इन्वेस्ट किया मनी, वापस दोबारा डबल हो गया, समय का क्या करेंगे? हम वापस तो 40 years 20 years के नहीं हो सकते ना। दैट्स व्हाई इट्स मोर प्रेशियस and there should be more sense of urgency to get into swadhyay and satsang and sadhana and seva. Why? Because to purify the mind and to evolve the mind, to evolve the jiva is the only and only purpose of human existence. मनुष्य जन्म अगर मिला है और ये ना करे, हम इवॉल्व नहीं हुए, इवॉल्व यानी टू बिकम स्पिरिचुअल, टू नो द हायर ट्रूथ एंड टू लिव द हायर ट्रूथ, वो एवोल्यूशन अगर नहीं हुआ तो फिर क्या हुआ? देन वी आर लाइक एनिमल्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स, वो जीते हैं और क्षीण हो जाते हैं। दैट इज द होल थिंग, लाइक पीसेस ऑफ मैटर। देखा जाए तो हम पीस ऑफ मैटर ही हैं, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट यूजिंग आवर हायर आइडेंटिटी। So just surrender yourself, and then you will find that you can reach that highest truth. So coming back to chapter 10, Bhagwan has really come down to the level where Arjun says, Keshu Keshu cha bhaveshu, let me put my mind on some of the ways in which I can hold that mind which is engrossed in sansar, in sthula vastu, in consumerism, materialism, and become very gross and sthul. You know, it's become jad. The mind actually is jad, but I have allowed it to be in jad vastu, so I can uplift it. Tell me the forms, and he has given so many vibhutis. But if you see, all these vibhutis are what we see around us, which means कि कैसे बताएं? अब इनफाइनाइट को आपको कैसे बताएं कि आप तो फाइनाइट हो, आपके सेंसेस फाइनाइट हैं, मन फाइनाइट है, बुद्धि फाइनाइट है, और आपको इनफाइनाइट जानना है, तो ये तो मुश्किल काम है। तो चैप्टर 10 में क्या करेंगे? आई विल शो यू सम ऑफ माई प्राधान्य, a few of my prominent vibhuti, which you can see around you, which means simply the beauty of character, the beauty of nature, the vastness, the expanse, the glory, the splendor, strength or humility and dispassion, gentleness, whatever it is that inspires you and makes you feel, oh how beautiful, and your mind is touched. That beauty, that splendor is me. मैं, मेरी विभूति ही उनमें है। भगवान बस यही कह रहे हैं। So reading through the list of all these vibhutis, number 31, pavanah pavatamasmi ramashastra-bhritamaham. Among all the purifiers, I am the wind. Among shastra-bhritam, among the warriors, I am Ram. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. हम warrior नहीं हैं but we wield a weapon in order to bring dharma samsthaya, dharma samsthana parthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, just to bring dharma once again to your lives. Dharma संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामी युगे युगे, हर युग में जब अधर्म हो जाता है मैं आता हूँ. So I am the wielder of the weapon like Ram. It's just a way of saying. And then Jashanam among the makar, among the water dwelling, and the crocodile, or the shark, which is the most powerful. Among the Strotasam, among the sources of water, I am Jahnavi, Ganga, which is also a symbol of Gyan. Gyan, Ganga, is a way of saying that it flows through the rishis and it comes down to us in the form of Shruti. And if we are not able to hear the Shruti, it comes down to us in the form of written word, and we listen to the beautiful words of the rishis, the Gyan Ganga, and we kind of refresh ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves, evolve ourselves in the words of this Gyan Ganga, wash ourselves in the holy words of any scripture actually. So we are reading Gita, but any scripture is like taking a dip in that beautiful Ganga of Gyan and coming out totally refreshed and ready to hold the higher. Number 32, Sarganamaadirantascha. Among all the creations, among all the creatures, Udasi Adityascha Madhyama. Am I in the right one? Yeah. Madhyam Chaivaham Arjuna. I am actually the middle, the beginning and the end, which we had talked about. So if you see a pot, the clay is the reason, the cause, the beginning of the pot. And then it is the middle meaning the life of the pot. When the pot exists, it is actually still clay. And when it dies, it is still clay. Not the pot, but the clay is still clay. So I am the middle, the beginning and the end, which simply means that Krishna consciousness is the essence of all. I arise from it. I take this birth, I take this body, and I remain after death in that Krishna consciousness. If only we knew how Shashvat, how Sanatan, how infinite we are, we would probably not be troubled by this petty little sansar which we are experiencing through a petty little body and viewing this world through petty little eyes. It's like it has been described in the book Dying to Be Me, which we read last time. Anita Murjani, she had this near-death experience, and when she came back, she said, I felt in that state. She was between life and death, and therefore it's called a near-death experience. And she said, when I was in that state, having left the body and not yet entered another plane, I felt as if coming back to this body was as if I am looking at this great expanse of reality through a peephole in the wall. ऐसा लगता है ये जीवन, ये संसार, ये बॉडी जो हमको दी गई है, वो एक इतना छोटा सा होल है दीवार में, और उस दीवार के पीप होल में से हम दुनिया को पहचानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं, अरे हाँ वो एक पत्ता हिलता हुआ दिख रहा है, आई थिंक भगवान इज वन पत्ता. और फिर किसी ने थोड़ी देर बाद देखा चिड़िया वहां से, आई थिंक दैट एक्सपेंस, दैट भगवान इज दैट चिड़िया. हमको पूरे ब्रह्मांड का कभी पता नहीं लग सकता, बिकॉज वी आर एक्सपीरियंसिंग एवरीथिंग थ्रू अ पेटी लिटिल फाइनाइट बंडल कॉल्ड द बॉडी. एंड देन शी फेल्ट ये बॉडी कितना सफोकेटिंग है, क्योंकि जब हमारा नियर डेथ, उनका मतलब नियर डेथ एक्सपीरियंस हुआ, देन शी फेल्ट द कंप्लीट फ्रीडम of the soul, of the expanse, of limitlessness. But we are limitless, actually. तो चिन्मय जी used to describe our existence की जैसे कि बहुत छोटे छोटे जूतों में हमको पैर में जकड़ दिया गया है और कह रहे हैं चलो संसार में चलो. इसीलिए तो इतनी तकलीफ हो रही है, क्योंकि हमारा स्वरूप, एक्चुअली नॉट स्वभाव, हमारा स्वरूप लिमिटलेस है, और वो छोटे छोटे जूतों में जकड़ के और छोटी छोटी बॉडी में जकड़ के और उस छोटे छोटे माइंड में, तुच्छ माइंड में जकड़ के कहते हैं बस जियो तुम. उस एक्सपेंस का एक्सपीरियंस मिलता ही नहीं. That is an experience which many have reported, and of course the most prominent is the latest Anita Murjani's dying to be me, a cancer patient who came back into the body and said, wow, that experience you'll never know, but that is our Swarup, that expanse and limitlessness. She felt she could be everywhere at the same time, and yet she felt a strange, not so strange, but overpowering sense of compassion for everyone and everything. That compassion was what she brought back from that other experience. Anyway, so I am the beginning, the middle and the end of everything. Bhagwan is giving some of his vibhutis. Adhyatma vidya vidyanam. सब विद्याओं में सर्वश्रेष्ठ कौन सा होगा? नो गेसेस, सिंपल, सेल्फ नॉलेज. नेचुरली हम चाहे कितने भी सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ लें, सेल्फ नॉलेज तो कभी नहीं मिलेगी. तो among all the vidyas, self knowledge is the supreme, because that is the only knower of all the subjects and of the knower of the self, that is we. So when you know oneself, when we know ourselves, we have attained self knowledge. And what is that self? That is the supreme consciousness, which is constant, witnessing everything, witnessing, observing everything, because it's never absent, and because of which we can see what's going on in our mind, in our body, of course in the outer world, and in our thoughts. We can observe. How? Because we are the observer, we are the sakshi, we are the witness consciousness. ये हमारा स्वरूप है. ये सेल्फ नॉलेज मिल जाए तो भगवान कहते हैं बस मैं वही तो हूँ, मैं वही तो हूँ, तुम ढूंढ कहाँ रहे हो? मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास रे. न काबे में, न कैलाश में, न तीर्थ में. क्या है वो? कबीर ने जो कहा था, मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास है. पास भी नहीं, मैं तो तू ही हूँ. मूविंग अहेड. अध्यात्म विद्या विद्यानाम वादव प्रवदतामहम. वादव, आर्ग्यूमेंट्स. अमंग ऑल द आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इन द वर्ल्ड, यानी कि डायलॉग, बोलने की क्षमता. Among all the dialogues, which is the highest dialogue? Tell me. So, the highest dialogue according to Bhagwan is logic. Why logic? Because it's only in logic that we can find the truth. Otherwise, अगर हम देखें तो हम किस तरह से बात करते हैं? हम तीन तरीके से ही बात करते हैं. आप कोई किसी भी social situation, you can observe yourself in any professional situation, personal situation, or even when you are on your own. What does the mind do, or the tongue when we are speaking? It does jalpa. Stage number 1. Jalpa means blabbering about our own greatness. मैंने तो ये किया, मैंने तो वो किया, हमारा तो ये, हमारा तो वो. Blabbering, it's called blabbering. That's why the word is jalpa. So we are either, or we are criticizing others, or gossiping about others. This is the lowest form, because Bhagwan wants to tell us the highest form of speech. So the lowest form of speech in human existence is jalpa. Criticism, gossip, व्यर्थ की बातें और अपनी बातें. हमारा ये, हमारा वो. It's either my health or my relationships, और अपनी बढ़ाई करना. But why is it called the lowest form of speech? क्योंकि when we come away from this kind of listening or talking from any group, we are uninspired. It has not lifted us to any higher level. It may have even dragged us to a lower level if we have been gossiping or speaking or ill about others. So we are not inspired, we are not uplifted, and there has been no talk of truth. तो फिर ऐसे चर्चाओं में हम बैठे क्यों? क्योंकि समय की कीमत तो हमको जानना है. We have to know the power and the value of time. We cannot afford to lose it in the lowest form of speech, jalpa. Second form of speech is वित्तंड. वित्तंड क्या करते हैं? कोई कुछ भी बोले, हमको उसको नेगेट करना है. अरे नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, हम तो ये समझते हैं, अपना ओपिनियन. माय ओपिनियन इज सर्वश्रेष्ठ. ये लेके हम किसी भी चर्चा में घुसते हैं. अगर आप किसी चर्चा में यही चीज को साबित करने जा रहे हैं, आई वॉन्ट टू कन्विंस पीपल दैट माई ओपिनियन इज द हाईएस्ट, देन यू आर ऑलरेडी नॉट इन अ स्टेट टू लर्न एनीथिंग, टू ग्रो in any way, nor help anyone else grow through your words. यानी कि हमारे शब्द हैं न तो उनका उद्धार करेंगे, they cannot grow and I cannot grow either. तो फिर इस चर्चा का फायदा क्या हुआ? I mean, what's the whole purpose? Vitanda. My opinion. आप कुछ भी कहें, नहीं हमारे ओपिनियन में कुछ और है. Okay, not interested. Highest form, Bhagavan says, in all kinds of speech is Vadaha. Second line में Vadaha pravadata maham. Vada is when you are truly listening and raising questions कि ये ऐसे क्यों होता है, कब होता है. जैसे स्थित प्रज्ञस्य का भाषा, अर्जुन ने नहीं कहा कि Krishna, I really don't understand what you're saying. I'm asking you about the battle, and instead of telling me about the battle, you want to tell me about some mystical, esoteric philosophy. No. Arjun said, no. I have surrendered myself to you, and Shishyaste ham, I am your Shishya. Once surrendered, I'm not going to argue. But yes, I still will have logical questions, Krishna. Sita pragyasya ka bhasha, kim asit, kim vrajet. I want to know a little more about this or that. In this case, about Sita Pragya. When we get into any discussion where we are raising questions about philosophy, about truth, that means that the focus is on truth and not about his opinion or my opinion. Therefore, in such a discussion, growth and learning takes place, and there is some movement towards truth. Therefore, true dialogue, J. Krishnamurti used to say, true dialogue is where, not where you are speaking, where you are listening very carefully. By listening, I don't mean without speaking, because when the mind is also countering, I don't believe this. You may be not speaking in words, but the mind is already countering the argument. That is not silent listening. Listening is truly suspending one's own beliefs for some time and suspending our own preconceived conditioning and opinions for some time and saying, yes, हो सकता है इसमें कुछ हो. तभी आप बाइबल पढ़ सकते हैं, कुरान पढ़ सकते हैं, और आप कोई भी स्क्रिप्चर पढ़ सकते हैं. There are many people who don't even go into Gita because they already have a pre-conditioned opinion. कैसे? क्योंकि उन्होंने किसी साधु या बाबा को सुन लिया होगा कुछ भी कहते हुए, which is very superficial. तो अब उनका ओपिनियन हो गया है कि ये तो सुपरफिशियल ही है, मेरे जीवन का कैसे उद्धार करेगा. अरे भाई, पहले सुन लीजिए, लिसन टू 700 वर्सेस एंड देन से कि मेरा उद्धार कैसे होगा. उसके पहले हम नहीं कह सकते. उसके पहले तो जल्प और वित्तंड. तो फिर हमारा ग्रोथ इज स्टल्टिफाइड, और स्टल्टिफाइड यानी वी कैन नॉट ग्रो स्पिरिचुअली, आई मीन. Materially, yes, we spend a lot of attention on material growth. Moving forward, I am in some more beautiful things. Number 33. Aksharanamakarosmi dvandvah samasikasya cha. अक्षरों में मैं अक्षरों में अ साउंड हूँ. सबसे सर्वश्रेष्ठ साउंड मैं अ हूँ. अरे ये कैसे हुआ? क्योंकि संस्कृत में इफ यू सी, when we are reading Sanskrit, अभी chanting class जब हो रहे हैं आजकल, उस chanting class में why we are so attracted to it is, अगर बहुत कुछ समझ में न भी आए तो उसका एक म्यूजिकलिटी होता है, उसका एक जो एको होता है, उस एको का वाइब्रेशन जो मन में रह जाता है ना, इट सीम्स टू अपलिफ्ट द माइंड बाय इटसेल्फ. ज्ञान हो चाहे ना हो, एक थोड़ा सा उसमें कुछ अपने आप में संस्कृत में इनबिल्ट म्यूजिकलिटी है. इसलिए इट्स कॉल्ड द डिवाइन लैंग्वेज. And it's also called the divine language because there are many words in Sanskrit language which have a direct philosophical meaning, और जिसको describe करते करते paragraphs लग जाते हैं हिंदी में और इंग्लिश में. And there are exact words, one simple word for which substitutes an entire philosophy. तो जैसे हम कहेंगे संस्कार, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट्स जस्ट अ स्मॉल वर्ड, बट इंग्लिश में आप ट्राई कर लीजिए, इट नेवर कम्स क्लोज. तो उसमें एक पूरी फिलॉसफी बंध जाती है छोटे छोटे वर्ड्स में. दैट्स व्हाई मेनी फॉरेनर्स हैव आल्सो कॉल्ड इट अ लैंग्वेज ऑफ फिलॉसफी. अगर आपको फिलॉसफी में बात करना है, आप संस्कृत में बात करिए, क्योंकि अदर लैंग्वेजेस फॉल शॉर्ट. अच्छा, वी कमिंग बैक टू द साउंड फर्स्ट. उन्होंने कहा अ साउंड इज ब्यूटिफुल बिकॉज दिस साउंड परवेड्स all the sounds of o, all the sounds in the world. एक तो वो है, and secondly उसमें musicality कैसे आती है? जैसे हम जब chanting करते हैं, for example I'll just take this verse, धाता हम विश्वतो मुखः, वो एंड का जो साउंड एको करता है, इलोंगेट होता है ना, उसका एक एको वाइब्रेशन मन में रह जाता है, और वो हर जगह है, धाता हम विश्वतो मुखः. अब आप उपनिषद के वेद जब चांट करेंगे, इट्स अपलिफ्टिंग. सो भगवान सेज, दैट म्यूजिकलिटी इन लैंग्वेज, इन ऑल अक्षर, कोई भी भाषा में, मैं हूँ. आई एम द साउंड समास में आई एम द्वंद्व समास. समास मीन्स कंपाउंड वर्ड्स. आई एम द्वंद्व समास. द्वंद्व मीनिंग compound words means two words which are put together to form one single word. For example, everlasting. Everlasting is one word, but it contains two words. It means ever and lasting. Or daydreaming. Daydreaming is one word. Day and dreaming. Now, I am Dvandva Samas, which means that both the words have equal importance and yet they are together to form one word. ये थोड़ा grammar का थोड़ा technicality है. Bhagwan is just trying to say in grammar, the most beautiful part is a dvandva compound word. So for example you say sukha dukhe. सुख और दुख अलग वर्ड्स हैं, लेकिन एक वर्ड में आता है. Why is it the most, why is this samas very priya to God? Why is Krishna saying, oh मैं तो वहीं बसता हूँ? Because both the words have equal importance. What is the significance? The significance here is that myself, which is my consciousness, and my non-self, which is the body, mind, buddhi, aham वगैरह, they are both with me and they are both mixed up. They are both mixed up as one entity. And yet, when we discriminate, they both have equal importance. और उनको अलग करने के लिए हमको एक विवेक चाहिए होता है, डिसर्नमेंट या डिस्क्रिमिनेशन पावर चाहिए होती है. सो हम भी सेल्फ और नॉन सेल्फ हम मिक्स्ड हैं. एक सिग्निफिकेंस हम इस समास का ऐसे ले सकते हैं, दैट वी आर ऑल्सो अ कंपाउंड ऑफ द रियल सेल्फ एंड द फॉल्स सेल्फ. ये हमारा कंपाउंड है. अहम एव अक्षय, अहमेवाक्षयः कालो धाताहं विश्वतो मुखः. अहम अक्षय, among all those things which are inexhaustible, जो खत्म नहीं होती कभी, उन चीजों में मैं कौन हूँ? अहमेवाक्षयः कालो, I am काल, I am time. ये चांस जो अभी मिला है हमको, ये समय जो अभी निकला जा रहा है, इस वक्त जो हमारे फिंगर्स से सैंड इज स्लिपिंग बाय, इट विल नेवर कम बैक, एंड दैट टाइम इज द ओनली चांस एंड अपॉर्चुनिटी वी हैव राइट नाउ टू गेट इनटू द परस्यूट, फुल थ्रोटेड परस्यूट एंड एन अर्जेंट परस्यूट ऑफ सत्य. मुझे सिर्फ सत्य जानना है, बाकी सब मैंने दुनिया में देख लिया भाई. यश, नाम और वेल्थ एंड प्रॉपर्टी एंड रिलेशनशिप्स एंड क्या कुछ नहीं देखा, सुख दुख एवरीथिंग. अब सत्य को भी पहचान लीजिए. दिस इज माय ओनली चांस. भगवान सेज काल, आई एम दैट वन इनएग्जॉस्टिबल थिंग दैट विल मूव ऑन, बट यू विल नॉट गेट अ सेकेंड चांस, बिकॉज इट इज अंडरलाइंग ऑल द अकरेंसेस. जो कुछ भी दुनिया में हो रहा है वो समय के ऊपर चल रहा है, बट वी विल नॉट गेट अ सेकेंड चांस. धाता हम विश्वतो मुखः. I am the dhata among all the dhatas, which means dispenser. Dispenser, giver. Among all the givers, I am Vishwato Mukhah. I am that prarabdha, facing in all four directions. Which means what? That no matter where you turn, all the actions that we have and all the thoughts that we have experienced in the past and in this life, they are facing us and we are facing them. Vishwato Mukhaha. There is no place that I am not there. Consciousness, I am not there. I also, why is this consciousness which is facing in all directions, why is it called dhata, which is giver? Because this giver is giving us our karma phal, our prarabdha. Is it really? How do we get our prarabdha? Prarabdha means our all the bundle of sukha and dukha and all our fortunes and what we are going to go through all this life, our fortunes and misfortunes, that whole bundle we bring with us, prarabdha. It comes from past lives and past actions. And the karma phala also accumulating in the present through our present thoughts and actions. And the third way in which we get our prarabdha or our fortunes and misfortunes, fortunes also, is through grace. Grace is when we evoke that the grace and of that highest power. Ki, hey Dhata, I'm surrendering to you. Let me now have this peace or whatever we are looking for. It could be samriddhi also, prosperity. Grace, previous work, prarabdha, that is previous thoughts, and purushartha, जो अभी कर रहे हैं हम, सबका बंडल मिला के हमको कर्म फल हमको भोगना पड़ता है. पुरुषार्थ अभी हम जो चॉइस कर रहे हैं, आई वांट टू स्टडी और आई वांट टू गो आउट ऑन अ क्रूज टू द मेडिटेरेनियन. आई मे गो आउट ऑन, प्लीज डोंट मिसअंडरस्टैंड दिस, I may go out on a cruise to the Mediterranean, but I may still keep my mind on the beauty of the Vidhata. That doesn't stop me from enjoying the beauty of the fantastic, let's say, Caribbean, Mediterranean, those beautiful islands. It doesn't stop me from enjoying the beauty, and I say, in this beauty is my Dhata, is the Bhagwan, and I still enjoy it. So let's not understand living in the world and escaping from the world. While living there, Bhagwan is saying, Meri vibhuti to pehchano. Yes, I can still do it. But if I go on a Mediterranean trip just to become a bhokta, materially, my senses should be satisfied. Meri indriyon ko, jo greed hai, jo आकर्षण है मेरी इंद्रियों का, उनको तृप्ति मिल जाना चाहिए, केवल उसलिए मैं जा रहा हूँ. Then it becomes a futile exercise. And also sometimes we go because we want to show off. That is also a futile exercise. That is also lobha, moha, matsarya, envy, jealousy, trying to evoke jealousy in others. So whatever we do, if we see it as the grace and the beauty and the vibhuti and the leela of Bhagwan, then we can do anything. It's the bhava with which we enter the world. It's not the world. संसार की problem नहीं है सर. संसार तो वैसे भी जड़ है. It is just a sthula jad vastu. It has no joy in itself, ingrained in it, inherent in it. It has no papa punya, no sukha dukkha. Nothing is ingrained in sansar. It is the bhava with which we enter sansar. So Bhagwan is saying that I am Vishwato Mukha. No matter where you turn, I am there. पहचानो तो सही. तो एक कहानी याद आती है जिसमें a teacher told 3 of his disciples that I am giving you, each one of you, an apple. Please go and eat that apple in a place where no one is looking, where no one is observing. There is no observer. So one went into a cave and began to eat the apple, and the other one escaped into right up into the Himalayas, and the third one came back with the apple uneaten. And the teacher said, तुमको ऐसी कोई जगह नहीं मिली जहाँ observer नहीं है? He said, no. Wherever I went, there is that observer, that chitta, that consciousness which is the witness, sakshi of everything I do, every moment. So वो साक्षी observer है, तो मैं कहाँ खा सकता हूँ apple? That observer is always there. Then the teacher said, okay, you have passed this test. The one who came back with the apple uneaten, क्योंकि ऐसी कोई जगह है ही नहीं जहाँ ये consciousness है ही नहीं. I am Vishwato Mukha, facing in all 4 directions. It looks as if we may have to carry on for another class, having been able to complete this, but I'll read the next verse, number 34. Mrityu sarvaharasha chaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam mrityu sarvaharascha ham. Among all the things which are sarvahara, harne wala, yani churane wala, things that take away, that rob you, that steal, that take away from you, har karne wala. ऐसी कौन सी चीज है जो हर हो जाती है? हाँ, हर एक चीज तो लूट ली जाती है हमसे, सब चीज लूट ली जाती है। आवर वेल्थ, आवर यूथ, आवर ब्यूटी, आवर फेम, आवर फ्रेंड्स, आवर जॉय, हमारे छोटे छोटे सुख, रिलेटिव, पूरा संसार ही सर्वहर। ओके, जब हर चीज शक्ति रखती है हरने की या टू टेक अवे फ्रॉम अस, इनमें से सर्वश्रेष्ठ कौन है भाई? तो नेचुरली नो गेसेस, इजी टू रिमेंबर, द थिंग दैट टेक्स अवे अल्टीमेटली इज मृत्यु। बिकॉज मृत्यु टेक्स अवे एवरीथिंग। नो एनओसी रिक्वायर्ड, नो क्लियरेंस सर्टिफिकेट, no formalities, no COVID test registrations. One moment, poof, gone. अरे इतना आसान है? Yes, that is the ultimate harta that can take away from us. So then people, you know what they understand from this verse? They say, अच्छा, that means we are YOLO. YOLO is a millennium language which means you only live once. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? You only live once. YOLO मतलब है कि बस अब मृत्यु ले जाने वाली है तो eat, drink, make merry. मतलब आप अगेन हेडोनिस्टिक लाइफस्टाइल में जा सकते हैं। ये हमको लाइसेंस मिल गया कि आई कैन गो इनटू हेडोनिज्म विच इज कॉल्ड अ टोटली प्लेजर ड्रिवन मटेरियल लाइफ विथ नो अदर पर्पस एक्सेप्ट भोगना, एंजॉयमेंट, प्लेजर्स को भोगना। हेडोनिज्म या चारवाक, ये एक फिलॉसफी है। देयर आर फिलोसफर्स in Greece this is hedonism, and in Indian scriptures, Indian philosophies, Charavak is the philosophy that actually follows this YOLO. You live only once, so make it materialistic. Now, before I close, I'll just say 4 simple facts about death, about mrityu. Before we think it is YOLO. एक ही बार जीना है, एक ही बार मरना है, तो फिर मौज करो ना. Okay. So, first of all, one truth about death is that it is a biggest leveler. Leveler means saint हो या scoundrel, wise हो या foolish, king हो या pauper, you are going to die. एक चीज मृत्यु कहती है कि ये डिसिप्लिन मेरा है. यमराज को हाईएस्ट डिसिप्लिनेरियन कहा था ना, आपको याद होगा. Yamaraj, the lord of death, is the highest disciplinarian, which means no one can escape death. That is the truth about death. The second truth about death is that, and it is easy to remember, that it can take away only the body. It cannot take away anything which is really valuable. It just takes away your sansar, your relationships, your body. Arey vaah, that means I am free. I cannot be conquered. No, you cannot be conquered by death, because it is so petty. It can only take away your body. That's good. Now I found something great about mrityu. I cannot fear mrityu. The third thing is, it can take away your body and it can take away your memories. Memories, yeah. Yani ki all those photos which we are collecting on FB and everywhere and in Picasso folders, thousands and thousands. यहाँ मैं ग्रीस में खड़ा हुआ हूँ, यहाँ मैं ब्रश कर रहा हूँ. From the most mundane and the pettiest, we are capturing and trying to capture so many memories of everything. But so mrityu is one disciplinarian which actually wipes out the slate completely. कि भैया you make a fresh start. Completely wiped out. So one Swami used to joke, he used to say कि हो सकता है कि आजकल जो there are in Europe and America there's a trend of destroying and bringing down the statues of some of the colonial figures. So Christopher Columbus हैं या फिर कोई slave trade जो करते थे, so those were, now we don't believe in slave trade. So those statues are being torn down. So one Swami used to say, जो लोग वो रायट्स कर रहे हैं ना, हो सकता है उनमें से कोई पिछले जन्म में वही क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस या कोई जिसका स्टैचू बना हो वो खुद स्वयं होगा. In this life there is no memory of it, because now we are new people and he is tearing down his own statue of previous life. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. This is just an example to show that when memory is wiped out, it means कि हाँ, all your sukha dukha, of course, fortunately, they are wiped out. And all your bad relationships and all the mistakes you have done, fortunately, thank God, wiped out. And सब कुछ जब wipe out होता है, that is a grace of God. नहीं तो हम, we would be crazy remembering past life spouses and the trauma and past life bosses and the torture in corporates. Oh, we don't want to know more about those spouses and bosses and bad friendships and loss of wealth. Oh, anyway, memory gone. Oh, तो फिर ये तो YOLO हुआ ना? You live only once. Oh, no, no, no. The most important message of the scriptures of Bhagavad Gita is that, and we have to remember this, there is something that carries over and you have to guard it. You have to guard it. There is something that carries over as your own evolution. 6th chapter में भगवान ने कहा था, तत्र तम बुद्धि संयोगम, आपका बुद्धि योग जो आप इस समय इस वक्त जमा कर रहे हैं, बुद्धि योग यानी trying to know the truth through the highest, through reading the scriptures. I want to know the highest. I want to evolve. I don't want to be caught up in the world. ये आपका बुद्धि योग है. आप जितना भी जमा कर रहे हैं वो लभते पौर्व देहिकम, अगले जन्म में जो भी देह होगा आपका, वो देही कॉन्शियसनेस को यमराज भी नहीं डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकते. अरे वाह, that's my own treasure. Yes. So why don't we collect? The only treasure we have is our sanskar. The sanskar of spiritual knowledge which we will carry with us and which we are, which is our legacy. यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नंदन. ये आपकी सिद्धि है. We will take it up next time. This is the most beautiful verse. So, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamat